Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Ronn Walker. I am with Ronn Walker Ministries, and I want to welcome you to 7-Minute Eschatology. 7-Minute Eschatology is eschatology in capsules of 7 minutes apiece. And let me tell you something, you will learn more in this 7 minutes than you will learn in a year at any Christian or Bible college or university or school in a year. And trust me on this. After this episode, you will know more about 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 than they'll teach you in a year anywhere else. And that is a fact. So let's get started. Well, before we get started, I want to let you know that I have a book that you need to have. It is called Revelation 11, Daniel's 70th week. Just like the cover says right there, right? Revelation chapter 11 is Daniel's 70th week, all rolled up into one chapter. And this book you can get simply by emailing me and putting in, and I'll send it to you free via a PDF file. And all you need to do is when you email me, just put in the subject, the word book, so that I know that you're not a spam and I delete you. So if you put book there, I'll just email you the PDF copy. And I do also like to tell you that I'm not looking to build my database. So if you send it to me, I'm not going to continue sending you materials or asking you for money or anything like that. I'll send you the email and then I'll forget I ever sent you anything, unless you write back, you have questions or anything like that, or want other materials. But just so that you get the email address right, because it's ron@ronnwalker.com, but what happens is you try to email me and then it doesn't come through because you only put one in. My name, Ron, is spelled with 2 N's. So I'm going to hold this up so you can pause it and write this down right there. ron@ronnwalker.com. All you need to do is spell Ron right. And also, while you're at it, if you like these 7-minute eschatology episodes, feel free to hit that subscribe button and notification button, and then you'll never miss another teaching by me, your host of 7-minute eschatology. So let's get started. The clock is going to start on 7-minute eschatology right now. So we're talking about, in this episode, we are talking about 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, particularly the teaching by the Apostle Paul about Jesus' return. The most well-known 2 verses of eschatology, which is just the study of end times, is verse 16 and 17 of 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. Every rapture teacher on the planet teaches those 2 verses as rapture verses, meaning that Jesus is coming on a secret trip to remove his bride just before the tribulation starts. So they say these are rapture verses. What they really are teachings about his return and the resurrection event that takes place. Now, today we're not going specifically into those 2 verses. I'm teaching you about the context, as it were, of what surrounds those 2 verses. See, there are 3 things that you need to know about this chapter and really the study of any subject, the study of Scripture in any situation before you do. And that's what we're going to talk about today. The 3 things that you need to understand, that you absolutely need to keep in the forefront of your thinking when you are studying, especially in this case, the New Testament writings, and in particular 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, is that the Apostle Paul did not write this letter in English. He didn't write it in Spanish or Japanese or German or French or Italian. Whatever other version you may be reading, whatever languages, if it isn't the Greek language, then it is a translation. I'll put that in quotes, right? A translation, and there's a reason for that, of the original language of Greek. And you need to understand that. You really do, because when you're reading what is written in the English version, it may or may not be accurate. So you need to understand that. And as we move forward in the episodes of 7-minute eschatology, and we're studying, getting deeper and deeper into this particular 1 Thessalonians 4, understanding what the Greek word actually is and what its definition is will become more and more and more and more important, as you are going to see. The second thing that you need to understand is that the Apostle Paul did not write this letter in chapter and verse form. No. He just wrote a letter. So it wasn't put into chapter and verse form till around 400 years ago. And they did that for convenience sake, okay? So understanding that is very, very, very important. And it will become even more important in just a little bit of minute or so in this episode. So you need to understand that it was just written as a letter. And the third thing you need to understand is you have to take everything into context, as I was saying earlier. The context of any given verse or verses or passage is vitally important to get a proper interpretation and understanding of what is being taught. Otherwise, if you're just going to pull a verse out here and a sentence out there and a passage out here, you can make it say whatever you want. And a lot of strange and weird doctrines come from that, and the rapture is one of them. Now, I'm going to start with this first thing first, the third thing first, which is context. Why is this so important? Because the context of what is surrounding verses 16 and 17, which you're all very familiar with, the context of this teaching by Paul starts in verse 13. It doesn't start in verse 16 or verse 17. So just to pull those out and say rapture does injustice to what the Apostle Paul was writing. The context starts in chapter 4, verse 13, and roll all the way through chapter 5, verse 11. And this is extremely important, because what those who decided where the chapter break is going to be, they made the chapter break after verse 18 of 1 Thessalonians 4. So verse 5 and 1 to 11 is the same teaching, but those 5 to 1 get ignored. And they're never taught. They're never taught by the rapture people. And why is that? Because from verse 5 to 11, if you read chapter 5, 1 through verse 11, which, trust me, we'll be getting into some later episodes, there's no question that the Apostle Paul is talking about the return of the Lord and the resurrection event at his coming. Okay? So you need to understand that. So the context is 1 Thessalonians 4:13 all the way to 5:11. And if you don't understand that and you stop at verse 18 and you're listening to those that are just pulling out verses 16 and 17, and then they throw in 18 once in a while, and they're saying, see, this is the rapture, you're going, yeah, that's what the word says. Yeah, I'm getting raptured out of here. And then what happens is you then go into chapter 5 as if it's a whole nother subject, and it is not. It is not another subject at all. So those are the three things that I really want you to understand in this teaching. And you're not going to learn this in any Bible college or university. That is this. You will learn that in order to properly interpret Scripture, you must take everything into context. They'll teach you that. You will learn that the original in New Testament in Greek, you'll learn that, and Hebrew and Aramaic in the Old Testament, you'll learn that. And you will be probably taught that the Scriptures were not written in chapter and verse form. What they don't tell you and teach you, maybe it's because they don't know, I don't know, is that the context of what Paul is teaching starts in verse 13 and goes all the way to verse 11. Okay? So you need to know that. So as we go deeper into this, as each episode it continues, this will help you with the foundation of understanding what the Apostle Paul wrote. In this section, 4:13 to 5:11, the Apostle Paul is teaching about the return of Jesus and the resurrection event, okay, that takes place at his return. And as the next episode unfold, we'll start getting into the original language and what does the original language actually say. Again, my name is Ronn Walker. Thank you so much for watching 7-minute eschatology. We will continue next time. Email me at ron@ronwalker.com and get your copy today. Remember this, you have already been blessed, so walk in it. Bye-bye.